Hello, Rooted MKE family. We are so glad to be here today with LaKetta Caldwell. She is the author of a new children's book, and along with many other things, we are just glad to be sharing space with her today and sharing her with you all. So today we're going to be interviewing her about her new title and talking to you more about our family gathering series that is coming up, because LaKetta will be there to meet you guys in person and read the book and sign books and do a activity with you guys that enhances the book and allows you to learn more about her and her work. So LaKetta, I'm so glad to be here with you today. How are you?
I am doing great today. It is nice still outside. Summer is hanging on. I'm hoping it hangs on to like November.
Okay. So you are much more than a children's book author, and you've been doing work of working with youth in Milwaukee and around the country for a good amount of time. Can you tell us more about who you are?
Well, I always share this, I'm proud. I was born and raised in Paducah, Kentucky. I grew up on a farm, specifically a tobacco farm. We sold tobacco, we raised and sold tobacco, but we had any vegetable that you could think of. I think I shared with you earlier, my dad will always say, if you don't work, you don't eat. So at a young age, I helped in the garden. When we would pick peas, I was able to sell the peas that I shelled. I was able to sell those, and I learned how to get money at a young age and the importance of working.
Okay. When you are all grown up, what do you want to be, or are you already there?
Well, I don't think I'm grown up. So when I was little, I wanted to be a famous actress. I just turned 46 the other day, and I have a dream of just traveling around the world, producing work that specifically heals and inspires community. That would be my dream thing to do, and I would feel like I've grown up, I've arrived. But then probably I'd get another vision and want to do that too.
Yes. So you have done a TED Talk, you've been featured in Milwaukee Business Journal, you've been nominated for a Mandy Award, you've done the Can You Hear Us Now piece. So you've done a large body of work. Can you tell us what keeps you motivated and what keeps you engaged, and how you always have this fire to continue doing work?
Well, what keeps me engaged and inspired is healing. I believe that we are our greatest selves. We walk in purpose when we are whole and we are healed. And so for me, when I was younger, as I shared with you, I wanted to be a famous actress. Then I wanted to be like Oprah. But then it was like, I want people to be able to laugh. I want people to fully be able to be who they are. And so when I don't see the equity in that, then I'm like, we got to do something. It becomes an artistic piece. My TED Talk literally was my healing. I did the work with others. Can You Hear Us Now? I took youth into their journey of healing, but my brother died by suicide. And so every day after I got the call, I was writing in the journal. And literally my TED Talk is called Say Something. It is really my heart on paper to help other families not have to go through what my family went through. It helps me make sense of the world. When I was a teenager, it was Nikki Giovanni's Ego Tripping and Maya Angelou's Phenomenal Woman. I didn't believe that I was a phenomenal young lady. I dealt with self-esteem issues, but the more I would recite that poetry, I started to walk into it. I started to believe it. So on days I don't feel all of myself, sometimes I was born in the Congo, start with Nikki Giovanni, I'm a woman phenomenally. So words of affirmation started to make, so poetry, theater, all of that stuff, music became a way in which I made sense of the world.
You talked about self-confidence and not always feeling like your best self every day. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. Can you tell us, with your book, Chloe's Beautiful Blues, what was your journey towards writing this book?
So it was one of my students came to me. She was crying. She had just gotten into a fight, but she got into a fight because the students called her a monkey. She's beautiful. The sun beautifully kissed her skin, but she didn't see her dark skin as beautiful. And to have your peers look at you and think that you're different, it bothered her. And so it bothered me that her own people who looked just like her. They were just a little bit lighter, different hue, would say something like that to her. So I went home, and the book is literally an affirmation to remind you that you are more than enough. And she's from first generation American. Her family is from Sudan. And just to research and look at the Sudanese women, beautiful blues. A lot of the women I saw in pictures had on indigo blue. And so it also, we take back the power, changing the narrative of words. They used to say like blue black, and that was negative, but beautiful blue. Like the sky is blue, the water is blue. And it's just a reminding, I wanted to remind her that she is beautiful. But then I thought the project was about her until I flew to Miami, and I had someone this was a guy who said something about my weight, and it almost took me down a spiral of work that I had done. And so for me, it became personal, that no matter what, so my tagline is everybody in hue is beautiful. And then the book reminds me, skin color wasn't my thing that I had issue with. It was being tall and not being petite like some girls. So I had to do the work. But this project became personal. And then listening to other women who work in corporate, talk about how they dealt with colorism, and then having other women who dealt with eating disorders because they felt like they had to be a certain size to fit in. And so it's just a reminder. The book is a reminder that we are beautifully and wonderfully made.
Thank you for sharing that. And in reading the book, it was obvious to me that it was more than just about Chloe, because if you look at the illustrations and the village of women who are there supporting Chloe and embracing her and offering affirmations to her, it was a great deal of support. And that's the support that we all need every day as we kind of journey to figure out who we are and how we can contribute to the world, and how the world around us receives us every day. How can we be a village for one another in the same way that the people in the book were a village for Chloe?
So one of the lessons I teach the girls, it doesn't cost anything to be kind. And so I think as women, instead, we don't compete with each other. I always say that we complete each other with our differences. So I think just really taking the time to be like, oh girl, which I really do like the dress that you have on.
Thank you.
Your makeup is everything. I love your locks. It doesn't cost anything for me to uplift you as a woman, to say I'm proud of what you're doing, just to be kind. And a lot of times we feel like we have to compete, or that girls can't be our friends, but we need each other as sisters. And I try to teach my kids every day, yes, men are cute, but we as women, we need each other, because when we go through, a man can't understand because he's not a woman. Just like we can empathize with men, but as women, when we come together, because you inspire me. I was like, oh my goodness, she has her own business. How do if I trust you and I'm able to ask you questions, it opens up a whole world for us. And so this project also is just to bring women together and say, we've all been hurt before. We've all been judged for a certain reason, but in this circle, in this group, we're really gonna love each other. We're going to change the narrative of how women interact with each other, but also, if you love yourself, when you don't love yourself, hurt people hurt other people. That's another thing that I bring up, is that we got to do the work. We've got to heal. We've all been hurt, but we have the power. We have the choice to not stay where we have been before.
So in the book, we see what look like adults and one young lady kind of fully embracing and loving on Chloe. How can young people uplift one another?
I think one of the things is stepping out, be you, not them. So as a young person, I see that you want to be like your peers, but sometimes your peers aren't doing the right thing. And so you need to stand out. If you see someone who is being picked on or bullied, you need to be the voice of reason and say, hey, we shouldn't do this. This is not kind. She needs us to love on her. And that's hard as a young person.
It's hard as an adult.
Yes, to stand out from the pack, but the leading, like I think about the wolf pack. There is always a leader who guides them to the journey. So you have to stand out. You have to be like the lioness. She is the leader, and people follow her. And you want people to follow you for the good, because our words and what we do, the impact is long lasting. Just having conversations with adults who came to see the play Chloe's Beautiful Blues, they were crying because it was like, that's my story. And the impact of the words that it's still in their life. They still haven't healed some of the things that people have said.
There's a line that reads, "We tap our feet and move to the beat of your heart." The story reads like a celebration of Chloe. Can you share why you chose this style of writing?
Because sometimes when you're in the process, you can't celebrate yourself. It takes that voice in the play. There's a teacher, Mr. Clark, who affirms her. She doesn't believe. He plants the seed of affirmation. She doesn't believe how he sees her. She thinks that he's just saying things. And if we continue to plant that seed of affirmation, when I was younger, it was Mrs. Ridgway. When I didn't see myself the way Mrs. Ridgway or Denisha saw me, they would say these things that I thought they were just making up or just trying to be kind. But eventually, like the poetry, I started to walk that celebration, that affirmation. And it's just so powerful. It's priceless what affirmation can do for others when we can't give it to ourselves. So we celebrate. That celebration is so important.
The message, "You're perfect just the way you are," is repeated several times in the book. Can you tell us about the power of affirming other people, if not the power of affirming yourself?
So, like I was saying with you with the poetry, over and over, the more you say it. So one of my secrets in my house, on my mirror, I have affirmations everywhere you can look. So I have a picture in my room that says, "Good morning, gorgeous." I was like, "Oh, good morning, gorgeous." I see it. And then sometimes it's like, "Oh, good morning, gorgeous." And then I go into the bathroom and I have affirmations on my mirror. They say different things. "You're beautifully and wonderfully made. You are more than enough. You are great." So I see these all throughout my house, and then I go down to the living room and I have posters or I have sayings on the wall that remind me of who I am. So sometimes you have to see it, sometimes you have to hear it, but there is so much power in affirmation. Like we listen to music, we repeat words. It becomes, it's our subconscious. It gets into our subconscious, even if we don't believe it. Eventually we start to walk in this thing. Just like if we keep every day, if I woke up and say, "You're not that cute." You're not. I'm going to start to walk, and I'm going to start to believe it. There's a saying that says you are what you eat, but you are what you speak, and you start to visualize. So sometimes I do visualization. I start to see myself where I want to be. And I do it every day. Like I think I was having a transparent conversation. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is next? Am I really walking?" So sometimes I have to meditate. I sit in my closet and I'm like, "Okay, LaKetta, where is it that you want to go? See yourself there." So I do that a lot. And then I speak to affirmation. And some days I don't believe it. But even when I don't believe it, I say it anyway.
I think that is extremely powerful because there's lots of days on my own journey of trying to grow Rooted MKE and connect with people that I feel like, what am I doing? Like, am I the person who's supposed to be delivering this message? Is there someone who's better suited? And I affirm my son every morning before school. We're going to have a good day. You're going to have a good report from your teacher today. You're going to celebrate your classmates. Amzai, you are so amazing. And in continuing to do that, that makes me feel good. And I'm replacing Amzai's name with myself. Like, Ashley, you can do this. We are going to have an amazing day. You are going to meet people who can make connections and open doors that you didn't even know existed. So I think just affirming yourself or affirming other people, you start to believe those messages even for yourself when you can't see it. And it makes it so much easier to walk into the day with a different mindset, and you just change how you see the people around you and how you see yourself. And that definitely makes for a better day than if you're walking around kind of feeling like, why am I here and what am I doing?
And it was so funny that you just said the power of words. When I think of the name of your bookstore, it reminds me of the oak tree and how powerful the roots of an oak tree, no matter, just imagine that if a tornado or a hurricane comes, that oak tree has been around from generations. I mean, when my great-grandparents were here, that same oak tree is here because it's rooted. And the words that we speak are rooted within us, good or bad. Bad words shift our energy to feel bad about ourselves, but good words root into our spirit in a way that even though we don't see it, the manifestation is coming. It makes us feel good. It gives us the energy to push forward. So I think there's so much power. I actually also another secret, I listen to Black women affirmations on Audible. There's a whole thing that in my car, I just listen to it. on my way to work, I'm listening to it, and sometimes I repeat after them because I need any if I'm riding my car, if I just always need to shift my energy. If I had a hard day, I was like, "Ooh, I need to put this on right now," and it just calms my spirit.
Who is this book for?
This book actually is for everyone. So eventually it was for young people in schools for brown and black girls. But the more work I started to do and having conversations about the project, as I was saying, my tagline started to become everybody in hue is beautiful, because I started to talk with women who didn't have my skin color, and they started to talk about how they were, because they weren't a certain size, they were treated a different way. So I just want everyone, when you read this, to know that your body is beautiful just the way it is. If you need to lose weight for your health, lose weight. But in the meantime, love the skin that you are in. So that's, when people read it, and I want every race to walk away knowing that they are here on purpose for a purpose.
I think that the powerful thing about your project is that it's not just a book. There was a play and there's the book, and you have other visions and ideas of how to grow this from more than just a single piece to really connecting with people's lives. Can you share any information about what else that looks like?
So yes, I can now. The play, we just did a reading. We were going to do the full production in February 2023, but we just need more time because I'm working with a Grammy-nominated composer to write the music.
That is amazing.
In partnership with the Bronzeville Arts Ensemble, they're producing the piece. We just need more time. We didn't want to rush the process. He's actually teaching internationally right now. So we just needed another year. So it's going to be 23, 24 year. And then not only will we have a musical, we're going to have an animation short. So Chloe's Beautiful Blues will be a cartoon in partnership with a local college that's helping to, college students will take and create the script. I'm working on the script right now. They are going to take the script and turn it into an animation. What makes me super excited is that I'm going to hire local voiceovers for the cartoon. So young people will get the opportunity right away to have experience in doing voiceover work for an animation. So I'm so excited about that.
That is absolutely
I love
amazing.
Cartoons. I love when I came in here, I want that book, but I collect children's books, but I was the only kid on a farm for 8 years, and so I watched a lot of cartoons. A huge fan of Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers. So I was always using my imagination. So to be able to do something and create something that I love, it's like, whoa, I'm so geeked.
That is beautiful that you even had the vision to do it, because so often we have ideas and for whatever reason we just don't move on them, and they stay like this thing in your head that never fully sees the light of what it could possibly be. So the courage to even continue and push out all these projects, I think, is amazing.
I have great mentors. So shout out to all my mentors who really, like LaKetta, I didn't have the money for my book, but along the way the money came. But I was passionate about it. I was like, I'm going to do this. And I had wrote a draft, reached out to I love my publisher. It's a woman-owned publishing company, Orange Hat Publishing in Waukesha. So I had so many women who touched this project. Even Andrea Williams and Alexandra Mack from PBS, the people who've interviewed me, are actually women, and every woman that I've talked to has been bullied in some way. And so I was just like, oh my goodness. So I believe, I just really believe in the vision. Like even the fourth part, because I haven't started that fourth phase, so I'm not going to talk about that. But it's really been moving, and it's just because I believe in it. And again, healing and inspiration is something. It's a part of my value system. I want people to get to the place, because I know with my brother it was tough and it hurt. So people have hurt. I want to give them a space to be able to heal and then fully walk into their promise.
Are you still connected to Chloe? How is Chloe these days?
So her name is not Chloe.
Okay.
Her name is, I just didn't want to embarrass her,
Yeah.
but I still couldn't. She did get a copy of the book. She wasn't able to come to the reading. And people were like, if that's not her name, where did where did you come up with the name? I was like, if I ever had a daughter, her name would be Chloe Payton. So I love that name. And so that's why I called the book Chloe.
Okay. Is she still in Milwaukee?
The student?
Yes.
She is.
Okay.
Yes, she's in high school this year.
Okay. So the Family Gathering series is coming up on September 25th.
Woohoo!
What can families expect as they spend time with you?
So we are going to read the story. We're going to do a little bit of creative drama. I used to work at First Stage, so we're going to do a little bit of drama, a little bit of singing, and then I have we're going to do an affirmation. The kids are going to have and family members are going to be able to create their own affirmation that we will share together.
That is absolutely beautiful, and I'm very excited. So we talked about what projects you have up and coming and what your book looks like in a more expanded form, reaching people and making connections beyond just the pages of the book. Is there anything else you want to share about your work or your journey, or any thoughts or ideas that you want to share?
Oh, that's a deep question. I think up and coming, I'm excited to get in. Shout out to the LaKetta Learning Center. That's where I'm going to be working with them on their fundraiser around Chloe's Beautiful Blues. First Stage, shout out to them. They'll be using the book for creative drama in the schools. For me, I am just continuing to grow, continuing to heal, continuing to learn, and continuing to be creative, like that little 3-year-old who mama put in ballet, and I fell in love with the arts. So I always want to give voice to her, little LaKetta.
And that is amazing, to be remembering like where you came from, where all of your work and all of your passions are rooted, and continuing to listen to that little girl and that voice and feed her and not neglect the things that she needs to be whole as well. So I'm so glad to have been able to spend this time with you, and I can't wait to see you on the 25th.
See you all on the 25th.
Bye.
Bye.